Okay, this is the yoga for people who do not really understand what union is about. And union is about being one with the Creator. And the Creator, in my view, has a sense of humor. Otherwise, some of us would not like scrawny little fellows like this here. But that's not the issue here. The issue today is, how to transcend the confusions of our time. One thing is definitely balance. Now, standing on one leg like this is a very healthy thing to do, and I do recommend it because they tell me it gets both right and left brain going at it, which normally, of course, they do, but the old pineal is out there enjoying the ride and saying, hey, boys and girls, it's time to come to peace. Now, the same thing with the other leg, you can do that, and if you can stay out there for any length of time, as obviously I'm not prepared to do at this moment, otherwise I'll become arrogant and like your teacher or something, which I am not, then, there are times when we have to address the divine. And the divine is mostly what we don't know what is going on. And we like to know. And I have found a way of doing this. Now, what you have to do, and you should do it carefully because I think it's a very critical shift in collective consciousness. And that is, I believe we should begin to entertain a yoga with Father Son, a union with Father Son. And I think that a lot of the confusions of our time have to do with the fear of looking at the sun. And I believe in some religions that's actually preached. And generally speaking, people say, no, no, it's a no no. And it probably would blind you under normal circumstances. But I think what we're doing is elevating the quality of collective consciousness. And we're practicing a form of yoga, which I'm sure there are people in India doing it. But I learned it many years ago when I was in midlife crisis in my 40s. And one morning, I was waking up and I was watching the sun rise and I was just gazing into the sun and suddenly it went black, and I thought, oh my goodness, I must have burned out my retina or something really bad. Well, it was only a fraction of a second, but it gave me a realization that perhaps the sun is in fact the other dimensional evidence of a black hole in some other universe somewhere that's sucking material in, which then it explodes outwards and bingo, we're in the refuge of all this collective material that's floating around this particular star. Very graciously put together a nice mantle on the planet in its spare time with all the stuff that's going around and fell in love with this beautiful planet, and we're it. And on this planet, millennium and millions and Hebrew long times ago, different qualities of life were generated here and died out because they didn't match up to the mother's desire for what the mother thought was, the good thing, and that was gentleness, kindness, harmony, generally good times, and living at peace with Father Son, and they had it nicely worked out, and then of course. Man began to know how to make fire, and once that started, of course, the mayhem never ended. So today we have to come back to a fundamental understanding of the union between not only ourselves and ourselves, and there is a yoga style that some people might care to try out, and you look at yourself in the mirror, you become narcissistic in that moment, and you look at yourself and you really do an internal appraisal of how you feel about yourself, top dog, underdog. Find that balance and then practice that balance in a physical way. And in this way, I think, we return to a more balanced condition generally. Uh, so, apart from balance, apart from sun gazing, I suggest you do this in the early morning or in the late evening. If you're more experienced, you can do it any time of day, and Father Son will be with you in a very conscious way, and that relationship will bind you into the biosphere as one photon of conscious awareness. That's because really that's all we are. And as we receive the light from around ourselves, which again is being projected into our optic eyes and into our brain, and of course, being enjoyed as an experience by the photon of consciousness, which still really resides with the divine. It's not really gone anywhere. It's just that sometimes we forget that really our soul is our singularity, our uniqueness, and that each little soul is equal and different to every other little soul, and how it experiences that life is the way that that photon of conscious awareness is experiencing, maybe as a witness to evil, but I'm totally convinced that there is a fundamental justice, and that what goes around comes around. And if you don't get it in this life, well, you may not have such a good time next time around. And I'm firmly convinced that our conscious awareness transcends not only the flesh, but all possible realities. So we can really re enter another sphere in a holographic way. And yeah, that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's all I have to say. It's a beautiful uh, middle of September 2012, and as you can see, I'm feeling pretty good. And thank you for Mr. Toshiba for putting this into his machine here. I'm now going to switch it off, which I can do with this here, unless I'm very much mistaken. Oh, that's not it.